Okay, hello everyone. Today we're going to go through our first midterms. Okay. The first 10 questions is exactly the same questions I posed on quiz, so I'm not going to go through these questions here. The first 10 questions is exactly the same questions. So the only questions I'm going to go through is from question 11 to question 25. Okay, so in question 11, it gave you a lot of number here and asks you what would be the amount of net income of the income statement for the year. So you do need to know that whenever we see these kind of questions, you need to know, okay, we need to read the questions, then find out that the number is useful for solve for these questions. The net income is equal to our revenue minus all the expense. So in here, in our questions right here, we have all the revenue and expense right here. So we're using the revenue 5300 minus 8,000 minus 5,000 and minus 10,000. So that's how we got the answer of B. Okay, the answer will be B. Okay, and the next questions. Okay, so question 12. It gave you a lot of questions and a lot of numbers as usual, and then asks you what will be the amount of total assets. So just ask you what will be the total asset. We know that the total asset have cash, account receivable, supply, and that's all the total assets. So we just need to add all of this number together, 70,000 plus 28,000 plus 4,000. So that's how we got the answer of B. Okay, and what if the questions ask you what will be our total liability? So if it's what will be our total liability? And then our total liability, it will be equal to our account payable plus our note payable. Okay, and that's our two liability right here. Okay, right here. Okay, and our total equity will be equal to our retained earning plus common stock. So it should be very easy. Okay, so for question 12. And for question 13, this is a very straightforward equation questions. Okay, asset will be equal to stockholder equity plus liability. So the stockholder equity will be equal to asset minus liability. The answer will be D. Okay, the answer will be D. The next one, these people invest $30,000 in this pizza restaurant for its stock. So right now, this pizza company, so it's asking you this pizza company, not these people. Okay, so it's asks you the pizza restaurant now has a what? Because the pizza company issues stock exchange for money. So the pizza company right now have a common stock. So it's very easy. The answer would be C. Okay, and question 15. If revenue is less than expense, the retained earning will be doing well. Okay, we know that if revenue is less than expense, so what we have is we have a loss. Okay, and whenever we have a loss, our retained earning will decrease. Okay, so in this case, the answer will be C. Okay, and the next questions, Alpha sold 2,000 of the service to Beta on credit. Okay, whenever you see on credit, you know that this is when we talk about account payable and account receivable. And Beta promised to pay for the next month. Alpha will report 2,000 as what? Because it's Alpha sold these things to Beta and Beta did not pay it. Okay, so the Alpha should be considered as account receivable. The answer will be A. And if on the exam, the questions ask you, Beta will report this 2,000 as what? And if this is not Alpha, if this is Beta, then we should be consider, if we're standing at the Beta company time, this will be the account payable because they buy something and did not pay it. So if the question change for Beta, then you should be choose the answer of C, account payable. Okay. And question 17. So this company sold 7,500 goods to customer, which 4,500 has been collected. So this company should report the revenue of what? Okay, the revenue normally according to the accrued base, no matter how much money you already receive, okay, the revenue will be counted as the total amount. of the product you sold to your customer. So your revenue will be considered as 7,500. Okay, many of you choose the answer D. That's wrong. Okay, the total revenue. Okay, once we sold the product according to the accrue base. Okay, once we sold the product, okay, we report our revenue as 7,500. Okay, so how should we write the journal entry? If we want to write the journal entry in this case, so at the very beginning, we sold our goods and we only received 4,500. So our cash will be increased by 45. So we need to debit our cash by 45. And on the other side, we will have a counter receivable, okay? Because we only received 4,500, we still have 3,000 that is not received yet. And the next, okay, because we sell our goods, so our inventory will be decreased by 7,500. Okay. Okay, so that's how we should write our journal entry in this case. So make sure you know that, okay? So we sold our inventory. Okay, our inventory decreasing by this. So that's how we're going to report these things, okay? Okay, the next question is question 18. So this company signed a contract with a pet groomer. Next month, the groomer will begin leasing a portion of the store and providing the grooming service. Okay, this signing a contract will do what? Okay, we talk about these kind of questions a lot. If these things have a contract that is happened in the future, neither you did not pay yet or the people you hired did not provide the service yet. So these things have no effect of the accounting equation because these things will be happening in the future. So this has no effect. Okay, so the answer of this one is D. And question 19, many of you did not do these things correct. So I'm gonna spend some time to talk about question 19. Question 19, question 20, and question 21 will be the questions that most of you guys did not do a very good job. Okay, so here we have a lot of things right here. So this company have these transactions and it asks you what will be the total asset at the end of the year. So you do need to know, okay, what happened to all of these transactions. Okay, so let's talk about each of these transactions one by one. So the first transaction right here, borrow 20,000 from the bank and sign a promise note. So in this case, our cash will be increased. Okay, will be increased by 20,000. Okay, so that's why whenever our cash increase, our asset increase. Okay, this is too big. 1 second. Let me try to change these things to a smaller. Okay. So our cash increasing by 20,000. Okay, and because our cash increase, then our asset will be increased. Okay, by 20,000 because cash is belong to asset. The second one, issue stock to owner for 40,000. Okay, you issue stock to owner, so the owner will pay cash for the stock. So our cash in this case, once again, increasing by 40,000, and then our asset will be increased by 40,000 as well. Okay, the next purchase 4,000 supply on the account. So our supply will be increased by 4,000. Okay, and of course, supplies belong to asset as well. So our asset will be also increasing by 4,000. In here, okay, remember, because this is purchase on account, so the company did not pay yet, so our cash did not decrease. So only asset increase, okay? And the next, pay 1,600 supply as a payment on the account for the supply purchase. In here, our cash, of course, will be decreasing by 1,600 because we pay the cash, right? So our asset will be decreased by 1,600. Okay, so one thing I want to point out right here is, okay, we pay 1,600 for supply as a payment on account for the supply purchase. Some of you may think about they paid this 1600, the supply will be decreasing by 1600. That's wrong, okay? We only pay cash, okay? So how should we write the journal entry in this case? Okay, so our cash, we need to debit our cash by 1600. And on the other side, our credit, I'm sorry. On the other side, our account payable decrease. So our account payable decrease, we need to debit our account payable by 1600. So the correct journal entry should be look like this. So you see the only asset account is cash right here. So what would be the total asset at the end of the year? We're using 20,000 plus 40,000 plus 4,000 and minus 6,000. And that's how we get the answer of B. Okay. So make sure you understand how to do these kind of questions. Okay, the next one. Okay, this is pretty much the same thing. Actually, what will be the total liability at the end of the year? Okay, we need to think about what will be the liability. So the first transaction right here, we borrow these things from our bank. So of course, our note payable increased by 20,000. Okay, so that's why our liability increased by 20,000. And issue stock to owner. Okay, we know that this transaction have no issue with the liability because stocks is equity. Okay, I mean here, purchase $4,000 of supply on the account. So in here, our account payable will be increased by 4,000. Okay, so our liability will also increasing by 4,000. And in the last transactions, we pay 1,600. Okay, of the supply we bought right here. So our account payable will be decreased by 1,600. So our liability will be decreased. So how are we going to find out what will be the total liability? In this case, we're using 20,000 plus 4,000. That's how we got 24,000. And using this minus, okay, 1,600. That's how we got the answer of B, 22,400. Okay, so that's the answer right here. Okay, and the next questions, question 21. So this is pretty much like the 2019 and 21, question 20 and 20, question 20. It asks you if the cash on the account of the beginning balance is 20,000. It asks you what will be the ending. Okay, so we need to write a T account. Okay, so cash is an asset. So we know that the balance is all happen on the left side. Whenever cash increase, we need to debit it. Whenever cash decrease, we need to credit it. Okay, so first, we purchased 3,600 supply with cash. So we're using cash to buy this. So we need to credit our cash because our cash will be decreasing by 3,600. And issue 400 shares for $45 per shares. Okay, so in this case, how many cash we're gonna get? We're using 400 multiplied by 45. So that's how we got the total cash we're gonna get from this issuing of the stock will be equal to 1,800, and our cash increase, so we need to debit these things by 18,000. And next, orders supplies at the cost of 8,000. Okay, because this is order. Okay, you order these things. It doesn't tell you that you already paid. So these things have nothing to do with our cash at all. And then the next one, we pay our utility bill for 1,000. So our utility bill, we pay these things, so our cash will be decreasing by 1,000. Okay, and remember, okay, the question tells you that at the very beginning, our cash already have 20,000 in our bank. Okay, so this is the total debit amount right here and total credit amount right here. So it asks you what will be the normal balance in here. So we need to using 18,000 plus 20,000 minus 3,600 and minus 1,000. So our answer will be equal to C. So once again, we're using this plus this and minus the total amount on the right hand side. That's how we get the answer of C. Okay, one of the things I want to point out once again is right here. You order something, but however, you did not pay yet. So there's no transaction related to your account payable. If you say that this is pay, okay, or purchased, okay, order and purchased is a little bit different. So many many of you may fail to this trap. Okay, if you fail to this trap, some of you will choose the answer of B. Okay, but that's not the case. So the answer would be C. Okay, and question 22, it asks you which of the following require credit. Okay, whenever asset increase, we debit these things. So not credit. So A is wrong. Okay, whenever our liability increase, okay, whenever our liability increase, we need to credit these things. Okay, that's correct. Whenever our liability decrease, we debit these things. Okay, whenever our liability decrease, we debit. Okay, so C was wrong. Whenever our shareholder equity increase, we need to credit. Whenever it decrease, we need to debit. So this is also debit. So the only choice right here need to require a credit is B. So the answer will be B. Okay, and question 23. It asks you which of the following statement regarding debit and credit are always correct. So asks you which one is correct. Okay, the normal balance for an account is the side on which it decreased. That's wrong. Okay, the normal balance. The normal balance of the account, for example, if it's cash, it's an asset. Normally, the normal balance will be the size when it was increased. Okay, so as you see, that the cash normally have a normal balance on the left side because whenever cash increase, we need to debit these things. On the other side, like account payable, okay, this is a liability. So we know that whenever account payable increase, we need to credit these things. So you will see our normal balance is also on the credit side, okay? So it's not decrease, it's increase. A is a wrong statement. And B, the total value of all debit to a particular account must equal to the total value of all credit to that account. That's also wrong. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you why this is wrong, because the correct answer should be look like this. It should be D. Okay, the correct answer is D. The total value of all the debit to a particular ledger, okay, or journal entry must equal to all the credit account or record in that ledger or journal entries. Okay, the account normally they will have a normal balance. Okay, so which means that normally you will have a negative amount or positive amount. It won't be equal to each other. If equal to each other, then that account will have a zero balance. So B is wrong. And C, debit increased account while credit debit decreased the account while credit increased. Then that's wrong, right? Because we need to set up these things to a asset, liability, and equity. Okay, debit increase asset, but however decrease liability and equity. So the only correct answer in this case is D. Whenever you see ledgers, okay, this is the same thing as the journal entry. Okay, ledger is just another way to say journal entry. Okay. Okay, and the next question, this is a very good T account question. So make sure you know how to write a T account. Okay, so in this case, we have an account payable. It had a balance of 9,100, and you do need to know because account payable, it's a liability, so it has a credit balance. Okay, so it will have on the right side. During the month, 3 debit amount happen, so we need to put this number right here: 2350, 5650. That's 6 and 7400. And we also have 3 credit amount, which is 1800, 47500, and 63500. Okay, and it asks you what will be the ending balance. We know the ending balance will be on the right side is the credit side. So how are we going to calculate this number? We need to using all the number on the right side minus all the number on the left side. So we're using this plus this plus this plus this minus this whole number right here. We will get the answer of B, 6,600. Okay. And our last questions. Okay. How do debit appear on T account? Okay, the debit on T account is always on the left side, so the answer will be C. Let's talk about why the remaining thing is wrong. Okay, they will be always on the right side. That's wrong. Okay, credit always on the right side. They are list on the left side for asset account, but list on the right side for the liability and the stockholder equity account. This is very easy to pick, okay? Some of you pick this answer and that's wrong, okay? For the T account, there's always one general rule, okay? The debit on the left side, credit on the right side, okay? And D, they are list on the right side of the asset account and list on the left side of the liability. That's wrong as well. So the correct answer would be C, okay? So that's all for this first midterms. I do sincerely hope you understand all the questions because most of these questions you're gonna see this kind of question on your final exam again, especially for the very easy questions. For example, like this kind of, a definition questions, okay, like this kind of, general accounting equation questions. Make sure you understand how to do these kind of questions. You're gonna see these kind of questions again on your final. Okay, so that will be all for the reviewing of our midterm 1. I'm gonna post a review video of how you're going to prepare for your midterm 2 on Moodle very soon. Meanwhile, if you do have any questions, feel free to send me an email. We can set up at home office hours. Okay, I hope you have a very good day, and please feel free to email me if you do have any questions. Okay, so that will be all for today's, and bye bye.